Hello, and welcome. Welcome on into the Swear Word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the chilihead community, by the chilihead community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Man, we have an amazing episode here tonight. If you have been curious about what it takes to get started with your own hot sauce line, today is going to be highlighting all the steps needed in order to get your product from idea to on the shelves. So, we're going to be also discussing on Hot or Not a singular spicy sucker, so we'll be diving into that as well. But episode 104 starts now. What's going on, Swear Nation? So glad to have everyone here rocking and rolling, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, or Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for being here, making this podcast what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chiliheads or individuals that are curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. Up tonight, we have one sucker on deck. This is a spicy sucker from Hellgarden Chilis, and we're going to be diving into this sucker here tonight. This is not the challenge level. There is a challenge level that I also have that will be for a future review, but tonight this is just going to be a fire pop, and so it's going to be absolutely hot, but not quite to that challenge level per se. And once again, if you have this idea, this passion, this drive, this inspiration that's really kind of been festering inside and you just want to get this out, tonight we're going to be discussing highlighting moments of what it takes to, come up with your sauce, take it from an idea, expand upon it, build on it, and make this sauce become an actual reality, and what it takes to start your own hot sauce company. So trying to keep it honed in, but also high level enough as different states require different things. If you know anyone that is curious about this path, they're trying to figure out how they can get down that avenue, highly recommend sharing out this episode here tonight with those individuals. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. Welcome on into Hot or Not. If this is your first time checking out Hot or Not, I do things a little bit different here, and it's going to be very different here tonight. There's not going to be an official scorecard here tonight per se for this sucker, solely because I haven't fully defined out what those lines are going to be for, say, a sucker or candy product like that. Normally, that scoring is broken down into 5 different categories. Those categories are heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, and burn. And I add those up and average them out, and that gives us our total swear word rating. Also, I always like to let my taste buds do that exploration. There's no ingredients seen on this, so no worries there. We're going to just dive into this here tonight. We're going to be enjoying this sucker from Hellgarden Chilis, and this is a fire pop. I'm not certain what flavor or what kind of heat source is really behind this. I do know that it is tincture that is inside of these suckers from Hellgarden. So go ahead and get this one on opened up. Has a nice twist tie around there to seal it and a baggie over it. You just peel it back and you can get to the sucker product. So boom, just like that. Let's see if I can get a better close-up here real quick. So as you can see there, nice and, decent size, nice mass, very clean pour on that circular round part of the sucker. So loving that, and looking forward to diving into this one here. Trying to think this through. I might end up doing is we'll go a little bit into Hot or Not with this, and then I might just keep this in and try to talk and, enjoy this for the rest of the overall show. So let me put this on off to the side. We'll be diving in. So cheers. No noticeable aroma off the sucker. I was trying to see if there would be some kind of a aroma note, but all in all, here we go. Outside is still that hard, nice coating, but it does have a slightly very sticky feel to it. So it's a soft layer on the outside of this sucker, but definitely can feel the hard, firm nature to it. So all in all, phenomenal. Trying to pick up if there's a flavor going on. I don't know. So far, not really picking up much of a flavor. Definitely feeling the heat. Definitely noticing it. It's consolidating more on the overall tongue and mouth, as to be expected. It's a sucker. That's mostly where it's sitting. So, but heat-wise, I can feel it really starting to draw towards the back of the throat right now. Let's see if I can do this here and talk through this. Definitely feel it hitting the back of the throat pretty good right now. Almost like a drying, a drying effect on the back of the throat. Definitely a tasty sucker. Very, very nice heat. Very hot. Like I said, as the tincture hits the back of the throat, as you can hear there, it feels like it's drying out as far as the back of the throat, really delivering that heat forward, and just absolutely a nice burn on this sucker here. Not one that if you're just starting out, I would recommend. This is for those individuals that are working on their own personal best, pushing themselves to the limits, and finding out where they get comfortable being uncomfortable. This is a great place for you to be on that, as well as you're really able to explore into tincture. If you haven't tried tincture before, you're wanting to know what that's like, you can definitely pick up some fire pops from Hellgarden. You can also pick up some great tincture from Hellgarden Chilis as well. Same tincture is utilized in what he sells is also available in these suckers. So let's do this. Throw that back over there. And we're just going to trying to pick up. I mean, I taste the overall tincture, the peppers in the tincture. I taste that flavor. I'm trying to tell if there is a different flavor note to this, and it's very hard to pinpoint. Obviously, with the color of this orangish yellow going on here, my brain ultimately wants to tell me this is orange, and it does not taste like an orange flavor. Maybe it tastes like peach, and then that's also is just my eyes kind of telling me what I think I should be seeing or tasting. It's definitely hot. I can feel it. It's already a pretty hot day here in the studio. All day long, it's been pretty hot, but I can definitely feel this raising my body temperature, making it extremely noticeable. Nice mouth, tongue, overall assault, kind of a stinging note, but a deep throat burn. Nothing in the chest, nothing in the stomach. A nice sizzle on the lips. All in all, phenomenal sucker here from Hellgarden. Man, this is tasty. Like, even the short span of having that in there, it's a pretty dense, nice, hearty sucker, too. Haven't really tried to bite into it. Not somewhere that I would just gravitate towards biting into this, but I might do that in a second just solely so I can see if I can continue to talk while it's in there dissolving. Well, let's do this, because this sucker is going to take a little bit longer than, say, just being able to pour some sauce onto a spoon and tell you what I think about it. I was able to explain the overall heat, the burn, where it sits, how it sits, and all of that. Like I said, not really picking up much in the sense of an overall flavor other than the peppers. You're able to pick that up very clear, undefinable there. But the aroma, even with the sucker already being in use, you just pick up that sweet note, that great overall, just normal candy smell that is coming on with that. But Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and we'll start tonight's discussion, and I'll just continue to enjoy this. All right, Swear Nation, as I had mentioned, we're going to be getting today right down to business, the hot sauce business. So ultimately, if this has ever been something that you've dreamed about, something that you've had in the back of your mind that you wanted to try to do, ultimately today we're going to be talking through the steps needed to be able to go from pre-business all the way to you are in business. And covering just a high level on all these areas, and we can drill down into certain specific areas as needed. Taking your fiery creation and bringing it to the masses, or whether you're just trying to burn down your uncle, we're going to be touching on all of that during this episode. This is going to be mostly focused and aimed towards those individuals that are in the United States, as I have not done any kind of research as far as what is required outside of the United States, so I can't fully speak to that. I have talked to the different makers. I've obviously tested products. I've watched friends go through this whole entire roller coaster that is the hot sauce game. Let's kick off this pre-launch grind and start to get those good ideas cooking. So, step one, passion. If you don't have passion and you're just solely focused on the idea that you're going to make hot sauce, to just jump in there and start making money, well, you're going to burn out faster than getting lit up by a hot pepper tincture. This business is messy, spicy, fun, and frustrating. And you got to love the heat. So, everything that goes on in this is ultimately, this pre-launch is really going to be the product development. This is going to be ultimately starting with anywhere from like 2 to 3 solid sauces, really finding out which ingredients speak to you. Some things that you either want to see out in the market, you feel that could be done differently or better in the market, and making those yours. You're going to want to test a lot with friends and family and other hot sauce lovers. You definitely don't want to mess around here during this step and not document anything. So as you're going, make sure you're documenting every ingredient, all the measurements, and all of that needed to go into the recipe. Having this is going to be absolutely crucial later on, and if you don't do this step now, you're going to be wishing you did later on as you're trying to recreate that sauce that just blew you away. Next thing is going to be evaluating if you're going to be cooking this, starting out right in your kitchen versus, say, a co-packer or just simply running cottage law. So if you are doing cottage law, look into your specific state cottage law because it does vary per state. So find out what is allowed, what's not allowed for cottage law. And then from there, you're going to want to scale. So a commercial kitchen or a co-packer is needed really whenever you're evaluating stepping out of cottage law and into the full swing of things. This is also going to require that you have licensing and permits to be able to have your safety and all that checked out. You're going to need your food handler's permit, a business license, and potentially a food processing license. So ultimately, check with your state health department and with the FDA if you plan to ship out of state. Quick tip, they're doing this and you're really testing things out and you're trying to get that authentic feedback from others. You're going to want to join some of these local, either hot sauce maker groups, communities. You can join the Reddit communities. You can join trade groups, you name it, Facebook. X has some now, and just get plugged into these different communities, find out maybe there's some learning curves as you experience these growing pains that you can get that knowledge that you need to be able to work out the problem that you're encountering. So that ultimately is the pre-setup. Don't be afraid to, try a few different sauces out, get that good feedback. Don't just base it off of one person only. Really start to get a good market sample of what the kind of reactions and responses that you're getting to your sauces and your products before you end up making any harsh changes. Now, if you try something and you're like, this isn't right, let me check something, let me add this ingredient, let me take away that ingredient, whatever, make sure you're updating your list each and every time as far as what went into it and how much. Once again, save you a lot of time and headache later on. Next, let's talk about your sauce's identity. This is where you build a brand that people crave, seek out, know, and recognize. Ultimately, with this, you're not wanting this to just be another label on a bottle that blends in. You want this to have a name, a story, it really to showcase your brand's personality. Are you funny? Are you fiery? Are you hardcore? Are you family friendly? Where is your target audience? Where is your target goal? The best place to look and to start with this is to be able to sit down and write out who you specifically want this sauce to go towards. This is where it doesn't have to be someone specific, but if you jot down like, hey, I want to sell to Bob. Bob is 30. He's a, family man, blah, blah, blah. Like, just start really building out this persona for your intended buyer and really start to build around that. Telling a story is a great way to be able to have that brand connection that really helps explain you, your personality, how you got started, whatever it is, you want to own it. And that's going to help you as far as being able to connect, have that brand identity, have that brand know-how, and be able to pop on the shelf. With that, you're going to want to focus on logo and labeling. This is where you can really reach out to if graphic design, if ideas and creativity don't sing to you in this way. This is a great chance for you to start to think up some areas of what you might want or what kind of colors you might want to incorporate. Jot all that down, get a good understanding of what you might want to see on the label. Just take notes. Find somebody that is able to help you in that avenue. If you are, looking for help and inspiration, or maybe you have just no idea whatsoever or some general ideas, being able to take that to whoever's going to help you with your logo and labeling design is really going to be able to help them kind of get that direction and be able to present you some things that, will be more on track with what you're wanting. Next up, really from there, don't forget, as mentioned with the pre-setup, there's going to be some FDA stuff going on, but ultimately the FDA requires ingredients by weight, allergens, company address, and nutrition facts on the labeling. So making sure that you have those things is going to be crucial as you start to get into really taking this into a full-on business outside of the overall cottage laws. So being able to do that will help you take that next step forward. You'll also want to get a barcode or a UPC, and that's going to be extremely crucial if you're going to go retail. At that same point in time, you're going to want to start looking into trademark and getting your LLC if you haven't already done these steps in the pre-setup. Really finding out that if you're able to trademark your name and logo, you can start with the uspto.gov to be able to see if that logo and name are taken or trademarked, or if you are able to grab those up. Next, you're going to want to form a LLC overall just to protect you and your business from a legal standpoint. This is just a smart business move. You can do an LLC. You can do many different iterations of a corporation. However you want to go about that, perfectly fine to you. Most people starting out will just end up forming an LLC. So, pro tip for you during this section here is do not skip the trademark. It is the worst to have to really deal with that rebrand after you've already started to build that audience. Now, the good part about already having that audience is they're more susceptible to understanding and working with you in that moment of needing a rebrand. But for those that aren't like actively engaged with keeping up with you and everything you have going on, they might not see the rebrand and all of a sudden get confused as to where you went as a company and who this other company is. So being able to know what you're able to trademark and know who you're able to really focus around is going to be crucial so that you don't have that need to re-educate your overall consumer base. Well, step number 3, well, this is where you're going to be launching your sauce. This is where it's time to go live. By now you've already had enough trial and error at the farmers markets, with online groups, being able to share this with friends and family and really gain that overall understanding, feedback, and resounding message of what everyone's trying to tell you they think of your sauce and how you have, how you've delivered on this. So this is now your chance to take it and go live. So this is where things start to get real. You're bottling, yes, you're pricing, and this is where you're trying not to panic, during every little label being straight, or all the fine details. Don't get too bogged down with all of that. Just remember, you're in this to enjoy it. It's gonna be a journey. The journey is not the same for everyone, and don't discount the journey. The journey is the fun. So this is also where you're going to be dealing with like packaging. You're going to figure out like how am I going to ship this? How am I going to keep my bottles safe from them getting destroyed while being mailed out? How am I going to ensure that they're getting there safely? You're going to be also buying in bulk at this point from trusted suppliers, and really trying to find ways to bring costs to a reasonable level while maintaining quality. So once again, to touch on bottles, there's many different ways and shapes and forms that you can get these bottles. You're going to want to find one that speaks to you and speaks to your brand. So whether you're going with a woozy bottle, a flask style, maybe you want to stay with that farm to table type of look with some mason jars. That's going to be all up to you, your pricing strategy, and knowing that your cost per cost unit, with the overall ingredients, the labeling, the labor, the packaging, all of that is going to be absolutely crucial here. Now, once you have all that taken care of and you're starting to try to figure out, what do I even need to start selling? What do I need to sell this sauce at in order for it to make sense from a business standpoint? A good rule of thumb here is multiplying it by at least 2.5 or 3 times for retail, of what the overall cost is involved. This is not just the bottling and all the packaging and everything is not the end of it here. As you're entering this next phase, this is also where, you've already had someone build out your logo. You've already found your name. You've already done the trademark. Now's the crucial time that if you haven't already set this up, you're going to want to start doing this. This is setting up your website, setting yourself up for e-commerce, whether you're using Shopify or Squarespace or a built-in platform or WooCommerce. You're going to want to get started, start getting as many emails as you can so you can start ramping up some marketing. You can let people know about any kind of upcoming sauces, where you're going to be at, promos, fun exclusives. You're going to want to really focus on this. At the same time, now that your branding, your logo, and everything's already taken care of, this is a great time, if you haven't already set it up, set yourself up an official Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. That way you can connect with those that are seeking out hot sauce. They're trying to find out, ways to enjoy their food with some great flavor and heat to each bite. This is a great way to also show reviews and reactions and really share the experience with others as they're unfamiliar with your brand and they're trying to figure out, how does this brand speak to me? How does this sauce speak to me? Being able to get out to those local farmers markets and small grocers and different kind of hot sauce events that are local to you, this is also a crucial time to really start that path. So don't discount, obviously, the farmers markets, because you're really going to be able to get a good gauge on the everyday average consumer as they're running through these farmers markets, how they respond to your product, their overall enjoyment of your product, or if there's something that they really want to see but they haven't been able to find. Don't worry, they will definitely let you know as you're out there. Being able to also have that knowledge of the farmers markets is how you're able to really start to convey the message along with your branding, along with your story, towards these small grocers. These small grocers want to know why your product is worthy to take up shelf space compared to the next guy. And with your story, your branding, your passion, the overall engagement and response from these others at farmers markets, being able to build a reason and show why your product deserves to be there is going to be absolutely crucial. The overall hot sauce events and everything else that come out from that afterwards, this is a great area to continue to build your brand, get your name out there, and let everyone know who you are and what kind of products that you bring to the table. So, this is a great way to also, throughout this whole entire avenue, utilizing social media, utilizing your website. This is a great way for you to be able to anticipate and tease and build that suspense for a launch date as products come out. You're able to say coming soon and really start to work that magic, really start to build that anticipation in there. Here we go. We are now, you've got your pre-set up, you've ran through the ideas, you've formulated, you got a notebook going, you have exact measurements and everything you need to know to be able to scale up and continue to grow. You've already knocked out your branding, you've already knocked out your logos, bottle and packaging designs, you've got your website set up, everything you need to get running and humming and going. So we're going to touch on running and growing it. So you've launched it, now what? Well, this is where the real business meets the real hustle, because if this is your sauce and it's good, well, people will talk about it. But you have to keep showing up and delivering who you are and your brand, and make sure as you're building up that name recognition that you're doing yourself and your brand justice. So make sure that you're having those fulfillment, working throughout the fulfillment tips and tricks, and you're trying to find out the best ways. Okay, I'm going to be able to bring it to this shipping station, and I'm going to have, at this time it seems to be the best time frame for me to drop off a whole bunch of packages and not really get bogged down and spend a hour or two at the post office. You're really wanting to fine tune and figure out what works best for your overall business flow. As far as the shipping is concerned, and you're trying to figure out how do you handle shipping costs, because as we all know, shipping anything is not necessarily the most cheap. So you do have different avenues, things like ShipStation, Pirate Ship, and even Amazon. You can utilize these things for scale and really continue to grow. With Amazon, you have a little bit less of a control factor, if you will, on how long your products are sitting there on the shelves, how the product is handled in the warehouse, how the product's handled on the way to the delivery, as to where with like Pirate Ship or, utilizing the USPS or, UPS in general, you're going to be really kind of limited to how it is handled. But being able to stay organized, making sure that your labels are clear, there's no kind of mess or any kind of issues that are going on, no discrepancies with the addressing and anything like that is going to be crucial. You're going to want to make sure you have your sales channels mapped out. You know which avenues you're selling through, how you're selling through them. You're going to want to track those metrics so that you can continue to focus on an area that might be growing rapid for you right then. You want to kind of focus a little bit more on that and then slowly nurture the ones that aren't performing quite as well. So these sales channels are going to be things like your website or Etsy or Amazon or local partnerships. Or, once you really get things going, if you start to land into a, hot sauce subscription box, this is a great area for you to start to know how they're performing, which ones are performing best, and working it that way. You also have events. These things are like conventions or hot sauce expos. These are really built around the idea of building a massive loyalty, a nice consumer base that knows you, cares about you, likes you, and trusts you. Most of these events, you're going to be going, and it's going to be, you might as well take a note now that it is going to be strictly a marketing focus event because, as a sauce maker, you are not really this is not where you're making your money, is at these events, because getting to the expo, booking your spot, all the little things that come with that all adds up. You're there. Just go ahead, put a note next to it. This is solely for marketing and building that massive loyalty base. While you're there, you can also, and throughout the whole entire step of this process, from the time that someone buys your product on any avenue, making sure that you are using this moment to engage with your customer and let them know, hey, I appreciate you. By the way, just starting out, or by the way, trying to gain more reviews or feedback. Let me know. If you have any issues or comments about this, please go ahead and email me at and fill that in, right? Or you can ask for those reviews, and you can either have a QR code or you can have a direct link back that asks for these reviews and start to build up your overall online reviews. So these are also great areas and times to ask for users to really kind of help generate some of that content. So asking for pictures of them using the product or videos or reactions of it. This is a fun way to not only engage your audience, but also continue to add to your overall content, building and letting others see that other people are enjoying your products as well and how they're enjoying it, because it might inspire these others that are just sitting there on the outside going, do I try that product? Do I not try a product? So this is a great way to do this. But all in all, don't forget just to keep refining. And some of the best sauces out there went through 5+ versions before they became what you know them as. So don't give up on the first one. Continue to push, continue to, create a better product. But once you feel comfortable with it, once you know that you are happy with it, don't let it eat away at you anymore. Just know that you love it, you own it, and you want to go ahead and redirect that energy towards growth or new sauce or what have you. All right, so let's talk lessons learned, because everyone I know that makes sauce has learned something the hard way. Here's just a few of the areas and things that have been mentioned, quite a wide array, and far too much for me to really cover and explain throughout this podcast here tonight. But really being able to highlight a few of these will give you a good idea of where to start and where to focus on as far as lessons learned. So being able to know that, you're going to need to make more sauce than you think you will sell. It's better to have and not need than to need and not have. So with that being said, same thing applies. Label printers do break, so whenever you're going for a printing of labels, print some extras. It might come in handy for you. Worst case scenario, you know how to offset it for the next order. Do not underestimate those shipping costs. They can be, pretty high at times. So being able to make sure you're factoring in the shipping cost and the shipping fluctuation costs will be absolutely crucial. And also, this one's not so bad. It's not the end of the world, but be prepared to eat some sauce. If you can't sell it, you might as well eat it literally. Not just eat the cost, but eat the sauce. So, that last one's a little bit fun, but, fail fast and adjust. That's the secret to long-term success. And for me personally, one thing that I've always thought and one thing I've always applied to my life is there's no such thing as failure as long as you are learning from what happened and you're growing from it. At that point, you're just making the best of the situation and you're not failing, you're learning. So keep that mindset, keep that focus going, keep that passion driven to be able to execute and put out a phenomenal product, and know that what you are doing, as long as it's continuing to bring you joy and you know that what you're doing is truly what you want to deliver in your authentic best, that's all that matters. Starting a hot sauce company isn't just about making something spicy. It's about building something meaningful. You and your story, your flavors, your fingerprint to your crazy chili head world and all that you love are all a part of it. I've mentioned this before with others that have been on the show, other sauce makers. I've talked with them at events and so forth. You can have the same 10 ingredients on the table for, 10 different sauce companies and let them take a look at these ingredients and make the sauce that speaks to them. And I guarantee you will find their personal touch, their passion, their love, their heart and soul poured out into that sauce in all very unique and fun ways, even though they're using the same ingredients. That is what you want to be able to find in your sauce. You want to feel it. You want to experience it. You want that flavor to really pop forward and let them all fall in love with it. If you want, I've put together a free hot sauce startup checklist highlighting everything that we've discussed here, as well as a few more little intricate points to it all. I'll have that linked down below. It'll also be on the website for theswearword.net, and you can check it out there. Once again, this whole conversation tonight and process throughout this is really to be able to bring together the idea of a high level understanding of what's needed. There's some of this that you're going to have to drill down further, really kind of focusing on what your state requires, what the differences are for your cottage law. If you're planning on selling out of state, what's required. All of these things are going to be a little bit more important to you and what you are specifically doing in your state, but all of this will be defined in that checklist. So if you're interested in that, once again, I'll have that down below. I hope that you enjoyed the overall conversation tonight of gaining a better understanding of what it would take in order for you to go from creative idea into full-blown hot sauce company. So I know that this isn't going to be geared towards just about everyone, but continue to share this out and definitely share this specific episode out with individuals that are curious and they're really wanting to know what it takes at a, very core level to be able to have your own hot sauce company. Take your great idea, your love, your passion, and bring it to market. Now, there's some others that we can kind of drill down into, as in the last episode, talking about co-packers, kind of how that goes into. So more episodes to come with that and really getting a better understanding of what all goes into that and just the differences between some co-packers from one to another and being able to really understand what really speaks towards you and what you're looking for. Fun updates that are rolling out here soon. I want to go ahead and share those with y'all. The swear word website is getting an official overhaul. Currently, right now, it is solely focused on the ability of the fun merch that's available and being able to find and keep up with all the socials. But right now it is in the stages of getting finalized. So more to come on that in the next couple episodes. But as that continues to kick off, I will continue to leave any kind of checklists like this one, or growing tips or nutrient tips in on the website, so you can look back and grab any of that information that seems to be beneficial and helpful for what you're trying to get. As May starts to get going, towards the end of May, there's going to be Zest Fest here in Fort Worth, Texas. If you are in the area, local to the area, coming out to Zest Fest, stop on by, say hi. I'm sure if you're trying to find me and you can't find me, if you head on over to the Freaky Ferments booth, one of those guys will be able to either track me down or tell you where I'll be at. So definitely stop by, say hi to them, and definitely look forward to seeing everyone that's out there at Zest Fest this year. Not too certain with what all is going to be going on, but I definitely will be out there all 3 days and doing some recording and getting some fun stuff going again. So look out for that, and I'll be breaking out some fun clips. Hopefully I can get the internet to work with me a little bit better. Last time the cell reception was not the greatest, so I had to kind of hold off on posting until I got home, but we shall see how it plays out this year. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or individuals that are curious about the world of hot. And just know that as this continues to grow, I want to thank every single one of you who watch, listen, and are a part of the overall podcast and the experience. I do have some changes that I think I'm going to start slowly integrating in. I know the 1 hour threshold is kind of where I was trying to aim for it to be. There's going to be more episodes, as you've already caught, that are going to be about 1 hour and 30 minutes. And that's solely just because wanting to get a better understanding, a better grasp of getting to know a lot of these guests that come on, you know, their company, who they are, etc. And I think it will be lending itself well to a much better conversation. So, as with that being said, some of these future episodes may not end up having a hot or not at the very beginning. Still trying to figure out if that makes sense. If you're completely for it or completely against it, let me know down in the comments. Of course, everything that y'all say is going to be taken into consideration and evaluated. Not saying that it's just gone forever. I'm just saying that maybe there will be some certain episodes where it's just more of the interview aspect. So if that's something you want to see more of, or if you really feel passionate about liking the idea of hot or not segment to kind of start off the episode, by all means, let me know down below. If you enjoyed the product discussed here on Hot or Not, if you're looking for a spicy fire pop, head on over to Hellgarden Chilis. I'll have the links down below for Hellgarden, and you can go ahead and pick up some amazing tinctures, some fire pops, he's also got some great pepper blends, as well as he sells peppers during pepper season. So keep your eyes peeled for that and grab yourself a great box of some fire from Hellgarden. Also wanted to let everyone know, I know we covered quite a bit that was in this episode tonight about getting going and getting started. This is a great chance for me to go ahead and plug one of our great sponsors here. So WebDX.1, they're able to help with branding designs, website overhauls, complete website rebuilds, and really being able to help evaluate and show you and your amazing products and business for what it truly is, and not really being pigeonholed into just an everyday mediocre website that you find online. So I highly recommend checking out WebDX.1 for all of those needs. as well as podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all of those needs. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.